focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see a lot of sunshine with light winds. An afternoon high around 84. Tonight, probably cloudy skies with a low around 63. And tomorrow, we'll see a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, probably sunny with a high around 90. I'm meteorologist Kyle Cook for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Without a strong IT partner, your business ends up overspending, underperforming, wearing too many hats, complicating your work, and more. Applied Connective Technologies can help with experts in every facet of technology. If it plugs in, powers on, or charges up, they're your people. Imagine being able to call one team for all your technology solutions rather than a village of vendors and providers. For all your needs in managed IT and cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, infrastructure, and audio or video, head to appliedconnective.com to better your business today.
Pioneer 66 in Lincoln reminds you child abuse has reached an all-time high. Each year, millions of children suffer from child abuse. Although hundreds of cases go unreported, behind the statistics are the lives of innocent children. Help conquer child abuse. Report what you know to authorities. Your call could save a child's life. This from Pioneer 66 in Lincoln since 1997. Call 402-488-5115. Children are the future, and that's worth protecting.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is Adam Carriker on the ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome everybody into Adam Carriker on The Ticket. I hope everybody is enjoying the glorious summer so far. Enjoy it before it gets too hot, ladies and gentlemen. You know the heat's coming. You know the humidity's coming. And you know a great show, hopefully a great show is coming over the next hour. The Loaded Show. Apparently, I can't call it the fastest hour in radio anymore because apparently I stole that from Vershawn Jackson, the fastest 2 hours in radio, which is 10 to noon every day here on 93.7 The Ticket. The Captain with Vershawn, T. Farley, my man Jake. Now, he said we could call it the fastest 3 hours in radio. His being the fastest 2 hours in radio, mine being the fastest hour in radio each and every day here on 93.7 The Ticket from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time every Friday, every Monday and Friday. I am live, okay, right here, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, Tuesday, Thursday. Now, it was the Chronicles for a long time. I'm taking a break. The Chronicles will return August 1st. I'm working on a bunch of interviews just like I did last August, okay? But in the meantime, DP, Derek Pearson, the face that runs the place, has been so kind enough to join me these past couple Tuesdays and the Tuesdays going forward. And we're going to talk some wrestling. Not wrestling, wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We've debated, should The Rock have taken on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Should it have been Cody Rhodes? It was Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes won. We've had fun debating that. I want to revisit our debate about the top 5 greatest talkers in pro wrestling history. We talked about that briefly for a couple of weeks ago. We're going to revisit that tomorrow. And then, of course, every Thursday is the Big Ten show right here on the 93.7, The Ticket, every Wednesday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. Former All-American Nebraska all-time great, one of the all-time greats here at the University of Nebraska, quarterback Steve Taylor drops a whole lot of knowledge. All right, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, ladies and gentlemen. The fastest 1 hour in radio. I'm allowed to say that. The Loaded Show, because it is always loaded. My notes, here they are. Here we go again. Just always loaded. And I got a whole stack of papers over here. Admittedly, these are blank. But I'll fill them in a little bit in between the segments while I am preparing for the next segment on the show. Now, real quick, got a whole bunch of recruiting news, a whole bunch of offers gone out recently from Nebraska. Their football staff camps going on last weekend, this weekend, Friday Night Lights camp, Matt Rule camps. The month of June is loaded with football camps, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Briefly talk about just some of the positions and things of that nature that have been offered. And then we're going to talk about some, and there's been some recent commitments. I'm going to highlight a few of those. Okay. At least those who stick out to me at the moment. All right. So we got some exciting Nebraska football commitments over the past week or two. Running back, another in-state player, linebacker out of Omaha. Okay. A player from Germany. I had a player from Germany coming to my recruiting class, Isaiah Fluellen. Okay. I still don't know to this day if he was behind me talking, if I'd recognize his voice. One of the quietest people I've ever met in my life. There's a kid actually that I coached. Nobody's going to know who he is, but Levi McDowell, great kid. Coached him for 5 years. Okay. 4th all the way through 8th grade in football and 3rd all the way through 8th grade in basketball. And he was so quiet. To this day, I don't know what his voice sounds like if he were to stand behind me talking. Okay. The easiest kid under God's hot sun on planet Earth in the Milky Way galaxy in the history of history to coach. Never spoke, just listened, just did what you said. Okay, but Isaiah was incredibly quiet, but we got an offensive tackle, okay, out of Germany that's committed. But, also, final thoughts on the Nebraska tight end room. Talked a ton about Thomas Fedoni last week, okay, and a couple other tight ends in that room. I want to put some final thoughts on there. Somebody insulted my waffles, so I had to verbally last them. That became the priority at the end of the show, but I want to get back to the tight end topic, some final thoughts, at least at this moment in time. Put a button on the tight end room, at least for now. Okay, during this hour as well. And then Jeremiah Sirles, okay, former Nebraska offensive tackle, is going to join me at 12:45 today. All right, before we dive into these topics, before we light this candle, make sure you check out bonzelpool.com. They have swimming. If you are looking for these things, swimming pools, hot tubs, saunas, they've got them. You should get them. If you have them already, they can come take care of your swimming pools, hot tubs, and saunas. Check them out at bonzelpool.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, it's camp season. All right, June is camp season if you're a college football coach. All right, busy camp season, okay, over the past week or so. Visitors, okay, lots of players coming in, visiting, doing these camps, getting to know the coaches getting to see them up close in person. All right, the Huskers have offered, my goodness, quarterbacks, running backs, DBs, tight ends, okay, a 4-star offensive lineman, Bryce Gilmore, and Malcolm Simpson, a defensive lineman as well, okay. Huskers have offered a 2027, 2028 quarterback this past weekend. Okay, they've had at least 15 known offers, okay, that we know of. That's what known offers means, Adam. Thank you. All right. Nebraska's coaching staff has also, in the past few weeks, hit Texas and California recruiting incredibly hard. All right. Now, last Friday Night Lights camp, they had 350 plus prospects. Okay. I should mention Ethan Nation, if you haven't heard, talented defensive back and a handful of walk-ons are no longer on Nebraska's football roster. Nothing but love, best of respect to them. You know, at some point, some people are going to leave, some people are going to come in. But just a brief update there. All right, the addition of offensive tackle David Hofken out of Germany. This is a kid. Now, depending on where you look, there's different listings for heights and weights and all that good stuff. Okay. Right now, for example, if you look, all right, at our incoming tight end for this year, Carter Nelson, you look at certain spots, he's 6'4", 216, which I thought was an oddly even weight to put down. You look at other spots, he's 6'5", 225. I tend to go with how he's listed on the Huskers site, which is 6'5", 225. Okay, but you do always got to take those things with a grain of salt. I've shared stories in the past of being behind players who step on a scale. The scale said 207. This particular player turned around and told the strength staff, who was not watching the scale apparently, 220, and they wrote it down. So you never know. All right, you always got to take these things with a grain of salt. But the addition of offensive tackle David Hofken out of Germany listed, at least in a couple spots that I found, 6'7", 260 pounds. All right, here's what I've seen initially so far. Okay, in the future, turn on that film, learn a little bit more and more and more the more we watch. Okay, athletic, got a great frame. Okay, huge wingspan. I thought someone somewhere put 9'4" broad jump. I did not have a chance to verify that. If that is indeed the case, that is incredibly impressive for a little bit on the lighter side, but he's a high school kid. Okay, offensive tackle. Now, I haven't had a chance to confirm that. If that is indeed correct, that's pretty impressive. That's some explosiveness right there. Again, great upside, great frame. I'll never forget when I was coming out of high school. People kept talking about my frame. I didn't know what the heck that meant. Like, my first thought was, are we talking about pictures? What are you talking about? Like the frame around a picture. Finally, I put it together. They meant my body type and the ability to put on weight, okay, and I don't know how else to put it, not become puffy, okay? I'm tall, 6'6". I have the ability to put on weight, yet, look, I don't want to say thin, okay, but the ability to put on weight, maintain speed, maybe even get faster, improve my change of direction, COD, explosiveness, speed, et cetera, while also putting on weight. This kid has a great frame. This is the prototypical Matt Rule player that he likes to recruit. If you're a wide receiver DB, if you're fast, you're immediately going to be on Rule's radar. Okay, other schools might overlook you, but he looks for speed. For linemen, he looks for size and height and great frames and the ability to get them in the weight room and add on that muscle mass and get that development going. Okay. Other schools look for big kids. That is not unique to Matt Rule, but they look for big kids who have a lot of stars next to them, which is fine. Matt Rule likes stars too, I'm sure, but he prioritizes certain things. And so I think he tries to see what you can become rather than what you are. And I think that's something he takes great pride as one of his strengths in recruiting. It's easy to see what a kid is, and it's easy to see what he's rated now and project that out. But if you can see what a kid is, okay, and I don't want to say under the radar, but sometimes under the radar, but you can see what he can be if he's developed properly, then that gives you an advantage over people who can just kind of see what they are now and make the basic projections that everyone else can make. And I think that's something that Matt Rule takes pride on. I think Corey Campbell, like if I'm Corey Campbell, Nebraska's strength coach, I got to be like just so excited to be able to work with a kid like this, okay, coming to Lincoln. Huge frame, athleticism. Let's get some proper muscle, some lean muscle mass on this kid. Let's develop this guy. And the sky is the limit for someone like this. Got to be developed, though. Not going to walk in day one and just start pancaking everybody on the defensive line. Not that he's not a decent player right now. Not saying that. What I'm saying is the potential in the weight room and development and over time on the practice field, hey, this kid's going to be a fun one to watch potentially. And I'm intrigued that he's from Germany because I came in with Isaiah Fluellen, who still is one of the quietest people ever, incredibly fast, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Okay, and randomly, I actually got in touch with his cousin. Actually, got in touch with me like 3-4 years ago, and actually came up with like an AC90 logo for me. We used it a little bit, had a couple of T-shirts for it, but he did a phenomenal job on this logo. It was kind of him hitting me up about it. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Okay, maybe I'll have to revisit that. We get back to Lincoln and maybe get some of those things rolling. Okay, now. Another commitment, 4-star running back, Jamarian Parker, 6 foot, 185 pounds out of St. Louis, Missouri. And I've got 6 kids. I've only got one that was born in St. Louis. And actually, Jacob is the kid born there. St. Charles, which is actually where we actually lived. And I drive about 25 minutes every day into the outskirts of St. Louis, not downtown. The games are played in downtown St. Louis. And don't go 2 blocks the wrong way in downtown St. Louis. You might not make the 2 blocks back. Okay. I remember one night, and they had told us rookies, like, don't go in the wrong part of St. Louis. And I took a wrong turn. And I looked around and said, I'm in the wrong part of St. Louis. And this is a nice vehicle I'm in. Like, this thing's got a target on it. And so I was trying to get out as quick as I could. Now, as far as this Jamarian Parker, okay, this is an exciting running back. Yes, he's a 4-star. Yes, there's things to be excited about. When you watch him on film, I see more than, I don't want to say one-trick pony, but like you see a big back, all right, powerful back, maybe not the best catching the ball in the backfield. You see a lighter back, all right, this guy's got speed, maybe he can catch the ball in the backfield, but he's not going to be great in short yardage situations. Maybe he doesn't pick up blitzes the best. Jamarian Parker, from what I've seen early on, just very early on, by the way, has the potential to be a guy who can potentially play all 3 downs. He has the potential to potentially be a guy to potentially play all 3 downs. Apparently I like the word potential. All right. He rushed for 1,644 yards in high school, 22 touchdowns, 147 carries, averaged 11.2 yards per rush. That's impressive. Also caught 16 passes for 267 yards and 4 TDs. Again, can he potentially develop into a 3-down back at the Big Ten level? It's there. I'm curious to see how this develops. But the other part of that gets overlooked a lot is blitz pickup. If you're going to be in on 3rd downs, it ain't all just about catching the ball. When they ask you to pick up a blitzer, will you step up and will you put your nose, okay, in that linebacker's chest? And are you willing to protect your quarterback? Is that not every running back's willing to do that? I'll be honest, I have not watched any blitz pickup on Parker yet. I'm just curious to see because I see tools to do the other things that involve being a 3-down back. I'm curious to see if I get a chance to turn on the film what he does in blitz pickup. All right. He's also got offers from Alabama. He had offers from Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona State, Missouri, TCU, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Now, when they chatted with him after his commitment, he said, and I quote, "Nebraska made me feel wanted." Okay. The communication was heavy with the coaches since they offered me, and they were very consistent. My biggest thing was always to go where I was wanted. And before the official, they made me feel wanted. And then they checked all the boxes. All right. Let's see. Next commitment on the board here is Nebraska's 5th in-state commit already in this young class. Okay. Pierce Newberry out of Millard North from Omaha, 6'4", 196-pound linebacker, offers from Minnesota, Kansas, Iowa State, Kansas, etc. Okay. Now, this is a kid who, when you hear what he had to say, and I quote, "Playing for Nebraska has always been the dream. I mean, Caden and me have talked about it since we were little kids, playing on the same team. It's who I am as a person, and deep down, I've always wanted to be a Husker." All right, Coach Dvoracek, him and Tony White did most of the recruiting, is great, and I am super confident in him. Coach White will be putting me in the best possible position to succeed, end quote. Now, keep your eyes out. There's more Friday Night Lights camps coming. There's more overall camp, Matt Rule camps coming. There's going to be more offers going out. I assume more commitments coming in. It's that time of the year, June, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to take a little break here. When we come back, I want to put my final thoughts on Nebraska's tight end room. Also, everybody's favorite Iowa Hawkeye, Caitlin Clark. Was she snubbed? Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
Nutrition Authority invites you to check out Emerge Zero. Building off the original best-selling Emerge formula, Emerge Zero is a body slenderizing solution that helps blast body fat, curb appetite, and provide the energy you need to get through the day. Emerge Zero can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the pursuit of justice for those that have been injured. My name is Eric Hagan, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our detail-oriented trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first.
At Doane University, your future is uniquely yours, and our world-class liberal arts education is just the beginning.
We invite you to schedule your campus visit and experience why Doane University will start you on your journey to your future career.
Learn more by scheduling your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit. See you soon.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-on, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Have a passion for the outdoors? Nebraska Game and Parks is seeking seasonal teammates. Work in scenic state parks, contribute to vital research projects, and care for our natural spaces. Seasonal staff assist with special events, provide customer service to outdoor enthusiasts, and make a difference for conservation. Join the adventure at outdoornebraska.gov. Apply online today.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
All right, it's time for Final Jeopardy. It's been a tight contest today that all comes down to this final question. No summer picnic or family get-together or trip to the lake is complete without this particular item. Let's go first to Bob.
What is beer?
No, that's not it. Think about the kids. Over to you, Farley.
What is corn on the cob?
Tough to grill that on a boat. Wrong again. Grace, this time for the win.
What is Bure's cheese spread?
We have a winner! Bure's cheese spread, available in most local grocers in Nebraska. Gaina Trucking is hiring for heavy equipment operators and a heavy equipment mechanic. Working at Gaina Trucking is a great career with excellent team culture, with benefits package including competitive pay based on experience, health, vision, and dental insurance, and a 401k plan. If you're looking for a new job as a heavy equipment operator or mechanic, apply online at gainatrucking.com or call 402-794-5000. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking.
By now, most of you know how important the Honda of Lincoln sales and service team are to the Lincoln market. Hello, Charlie Stone here, and joining me is Andy Goodyear from Honda of Lincoln to tell you about the great news they just received. Andy, please tell us all about it.
Each year, the Lincoln Journal-Star has an award program called the Lincoln Choice Award, where the customers in Lincoln get to choose the best places to do business. Great pleasure, I get to announce that Honda of Lincoln has won the award for buying new cars, used cars, automotive repair, and even oil changes.
That is amazing, Andy. Any more good news?
Yes, there is, Charlie. We now have more than 100 new Hondas in stock, with hundreds on the way, and a huge selection of all makes and models on our pre-owned lot.
Incredible. Maybe it's time you come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see a lot of sunshine with light winds. An afternoon high around 84. Tonight, probably cloudy skies with a low around 63. And tomorrow, we'll see a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, probably sunny with a high around 90. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Old School with DP and J.
Everybody's going to focus on his intensities and antics. I think he would be just fine because Billy Donovan is doing well, right? And he's intense as all get out. But how do you think he would transition to the NBA as a coach? And then also, what does this tell you about the Lakers?
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. All right, real quick, want to give a shout out. Well, hashtag cheap plug, CarrikerChronicles.com. Check out the Carriker Chronicles on YouTube. Let me emphasize, hashtag a cheap plug. By the way, if you want to be a sponsor of this show, reach out to The Ticket, reach out to DP, reach out to Jake Sorensen, reach out to me. In the meantime, I'm going to plug my stuff as well as The Ticket. Again, that's CarrikerChronicles.com. We are revamping the website. And it's because we have so many freaking content contributors. We had 6 last year. We are going to have 20 this year. And the site was having an issue trying to keep up with the constant upload and constant articles and videos going up. Phenomenal problem to have. That will be ready, I believe, by the middle of July. All right. So CarrikerChronicles.com. Also, the tube of you, check it out. TheTicket.com. The Ticket on Twitter, Facebook, TV, radio. If you're checking it out right now, you probably know where to find it. 93.7 The Ticket does a great job. Check them out everywhere you can see and or want Husker content. All right. I want to give my final thoughts per the conversation last week on Nebraska's tight end room. And then, of course, we're going to talk about our everybody's favorite Iowa Hawkeye, because did Caitlin Clark get snubbed? And I'm going to make the argument that it was a good thing for her that she did not make the Olympic team. But I'll get to that in a minute. All right. So you look at Nebraska's tight end room. We all know Thomas Fedoni. It's a guy a lot of colleges have been trying to get. Hashtag flat out, straight up tampering. I love that they got called out. A guy highly recruited, 2 major knee injuries, insanely motivated. And we talked last week about, on Friday's show, if you missed it, go back and check it out. Vershawn Jackson came on, did a great job talking about tight ends, his expectations for this room. I don't have Vershawn's quote in front of me, but I will paraphrase because I remember the general thing that he said that I'm going to reference, which was basically with Carter Nelson coming in, Bryce Benhart, Nate Borkisher, some of the other guys in that room, this could potentially down the road the next year or two be one of the best tight end rooms in the entire country. And that's not a crazy thought, because year 2, after especially 2 major injuries like what Thomas Fedoni had, year 2 is when you're going to feel good. Year 1, as I mentioned, there's a difference between the doctor telling you you're cleared and you, another 6 months to a year down the road, actually feeling good and back to normal. I've had major surgeries on both my shoulders, 6 on my right knee, 2 on my ankle. So I've had 10, and I'm not talking little X's, little scopes, no disrespect to that, because I've also had those in addition while they were also doing the major surgeries at the same time. To anyone who's had those, surgery. But they were 10, I'm talking cut wide the F open surgeries every single time. So we're talking minimum 6 to 9 months to recovery, sometimes a year. And like my second shoulder, it was a doctor in Houston. We flew down. He cleared me after 4 months. I tend to get cleared from all my injuries early. The only exception was the right knee. You heard 6 surgeries. Maybe I'll dive into that story one day. Let's just say the Redskins training staff that was there that I was not a fan of got fired 2 years later. But that's a topic for another day. Other than that, if it's supposed to be 6 weeks, I'll come back at 4. If it's supposed to be 6 to 9 months, my right shoulder got cleared in 5, my left shoulder got cleared in 4. But that's not the main point. My point is this. I walked out of that doctor's office in Houston because that's where he was located. He cleared me, and I was stunned. He's like, yeah, it was I think mid-February. He goes, if you had a game Sunday, you could play. And I was like, what? I did, and my arm did not feel good. My left shoulder, my arm, anytime I moved it, especially if I raised it up, if you're watching on the tube of view, if I raised it up like this, it was like an old creaky door hinge. For at least, that was 4 months, at least another, I'm gonna say 8 to 12 months. It was probably another year before it did not sound like an old creaky door hinge. So my point is, with Fedoni, he made it through all of last year, second leading receiver on the team, did some good things. I have to imagine he feels so much better going into this year. And I can't wait to see what a healthy, feeling good Thomas Fedoni can do year 2. Okay, post all those surgeries and the toughness and the resiliency that he showed to bounce back. And I know he's incredibly motivated. You look at Nate Borkesher, this is a walk-on guy who has played a lot of snaps, who has started. This is a guy who, by all accounts, has done everything right, a guy who's going to see playing time. Anytime there's competition like there is in that tight end room, especially with a guy like Carter Nelson coming in, I got to imagine he's got something to prove, and he's working his butt off. This has to be a tight end room with so much, like they feel like they've got to fight, scratch, and claw to earn playing time, and they've got a lot to prove as well. You look at a guy like Carter Nelson. Now, he's a true freshman. I mean, we're probably going to have a true freshman starting a quarterback. So true freshmen are viewed differently now than they ever have. And there's a good reason for that. Okay. They are getting developed at younger ages than they ever have at a higher level. But Carter is a kid that can come in right away, potentially, and help us in the pass game. Not sure about the run game at this point. It also depends on how well, how quick and fast he catches on to the routes, the route trees, the concepts. Okay, audibles based on blitzes that you got to make at the line of scrimmage, that you got to know, not just the quarterback. But this is a guy who's been questioned a little bit because he's coming from 8-man football. Well, how's that adjustment going to be? So I know for a fact he's highly motivated. This is going to be a fun tight end room to watch. I'm interested to see how they develop as blockers because they're willing blockers. How much can they improve in general as blockers? We know they got some pass catchers in there. We know we got some talent and ability. My final thoughts for now, anyways, on this tight end room is they're going to be fun to watch this fall. There's talent, there's ability, there's competition. There's people who feel like they got something to prove. There are willing blockers who have had another year in the weight room to get bigger and stronger. Vershawn talked about that last Friday as well. This is going to be one of the most fun rooms on this team to watch, in my opinion. All right, now Jeremiah Sirles is going to join me at 12:45. So I'm going to offer some quick thoughts on Caitlin Clark, but I got to cut it a little bit short because I want to give due time to Jeremiah when he comes on. Now, real quick, if you weren't aware. Okay, Caitlin Clark, real quick. WNBA Rookie of the Month last month, 17.6 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 6.6 assists per game. She's playing well. Okay. She was, some folks feel snubbed, not selected, however you want to phrase it, to the U.S. Women's Olympic team. And she said to her coach, hey, coach, they woke a monster. Well, she should feel that way. Any competitor should feel that way. She didn't feel that way. I'd be like, why don't you feel that way? Now, here's the deal. Who benefits from her being selected to the team? Well, the sport, because more people are going to watch. The TV partners, because more people are going to watch, so more money will be made. Probably everybody else on the team, because everybody's going to be watching them more, which high tide raises all ships, raises their brand value and the amount of money they can make. I could argue everyone else around Caitlin Clark would benefit. I could argue that Caitlin Clark herself benefits from not being on the team, and here's why. She's already an insanely divisive player, insanely divisive figure. Everything is analyzed. Everything she does is analyzed. Everything that people do to her is analyzed. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a WNBA expert. The odds of me watching the WNBA are much higher than they used to be. I've got a lot of daughters who love basketball. Who knows what the future holds? Who knows what it doesn't hold? Half of them just learned how to read. So I'm not too crazy about getting off in the weeds on that. But my point is more people are going to watch the WNBA than ever because of her. And whether everyone else in the league realizes it, it helps them. But while she just won Rookie of the Month, there are other guards in that league that are playing better than her who have been there longer. So I would argue they deserve that spot due to their play. And again, she's playing good, Rookie of the Month. But they've been there longer. They're more tenured. They're more veterans. They understand the WNBA game, and that gives them an edge as far as their play and quality of play so far. They deserve to be on that team more than she does. So if she gets put on that team, what do you think is going to happen? There's going to be, I'm going to use the J word, jealousy. There's going to be all these things that are going to come her way to the nth degree that are already coming her way, and it's going to be amplified 3, 4, 5 times. She benefits from not being on that team because the other women who've earned it even more than her are on that team, which is going to de-escalate what would have happened to her had she been put on the team over other more deserving women at this point in her career. Now, the U.S. women's team, let's be honest, they're probably going to win either way, with or without Caitlin Clark. They have won 7 straight Olympic gold medals with a 70-3 record at the Olympics. You got to keep in mind, Caitlin just came off a Big Ten championship season with the Iowa Hawkeyes, a run into the NCAA tournament again. What'd she have? Maybe a month off before the WNBA season started. So it gives her body, her mind some time to rest. I believe the most deserving players were put on that team due to my limited knowledge of the NBA. I'm going to be honest. I asked other people who know more, and they all agreed. The most deserving players are on that team. Had they put Caitlin on, it would have benefited everybody from a monetary revenue, TV watching standpoint, but the anger and animosity towards her would have been amplified way more than it even is now. If it's hard, if you can even imagine that. It gives her it gives her body and mind time to rest, easy for me to say. And it de-escalates what would have come her way otherwise. Now, I love the fact that she's motivated. Also, I find her easier to watch now that she's not in an Iowa Hawkeyes uniform. Is that just me? All right, ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts on our favorite former Iowa Hawkeye, Caitlin Clark. Don't go anywhere. We're going to pay some bills, and then Jeremiah Sirles is going to join me and drop that knowledge.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
The 31st Annual Testicle Festival, Saturday, June 15th at Round the Bend Steakhouse, just off I-80, exit 426. Swing out 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. for live music, cold beer, and of course, nuts. Visit roundthebendsteakhouse.com for more.
Without a strong IT partner, your business ends up overspending, underperforming, wearing too many hats, complicating your work, and more. Applied Connective Technologies can help with experts in every facet of technology. If it plugs in, powers on, or charges up, they're your people. Imagine being able to call one team for all your technology solutions rather than a village of vendors and providers. For all your needs in managed IT and cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, infrastructure, and audio or video, head to appliedconnective.com to better your business today.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street
Carpet.
1732 O Street, family owned and operated, always the best value.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com, serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Have a passion for the outdoors? Nebraska Game and Parks is seeking seasonal teammates. Work in scenic state parks, contribute to vital research projects, and care for our natural spaces. Seasonal staff assist with special events, provide customer service to outdoor enthusiasts, and make a difference for conservation. Join the adventure at outdoornebraska.gov. Apply online today.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired in cooperation with Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Old School with DP and J.
Everybody's going to focus on his intensities and antics. I think he would be just fine because Billy Donovan is doing well, right? And he's intense as all get out. But how do you think he would transition to the NBA as a coach? And then also, what does this tell you about the Lakers?
93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
I think the plan is to go bigger at corner. You got to have bigger corners in this league because you got these receivers. You got to deal with Ohio State receiver. And I'm not saying small corners can't get it done, but small corners have to be extraordinary, right? They got to jump higher. They got to do things that bigger corners might not necessarily have to do. So, I mean, losing Ethan Nation, it's kind of a blow, but when you got to get down in scholarships anyway, it's not, man. They got to have their best guys, man.
Alcohol has strained our relationship. Drinking too much can cause harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, we will save our relationship. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry, deal ends June 14th. Join now, online or at your local PF Club.
See Home Club for details.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom. Welcome back, everybody, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. Hope you're enjoying a glorious Monday. I got a special guest for me. We're going to bring him on here in just a few moments real quick. As always, you can check out theticket.com. Check them out, The Ticket, and everyone involved. I was going to try to list all the hosts. Holy cow. There's so many great people involved. There's no way I could get through the entire list before the end of the show. Basically, 93.7 The Ticket is the spot to be. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, theticket.com, everywhere you want your Nebraska sports news. Also, CarrikerChronicles.com, Carriker Chronicles on YouTube as well. Now, I want to bring on my guest. He's a two-time All-Big Ten performer, three-time Nebraska Scholar Athlete Honor Roll, Brooke Behringer Citizenship Team 2012-2013, played in 53 games with 41 career starts, and the owner of One West Sports Group, Mr. Jeremiah Sirles. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, Adam. Thank you for having me on.
All right, dude. So you are the owner of a sports agent group. Is that's correct, right?
Yes, sir.
How did you get into that, and what is it like basically being an agent for pro football players and pro athletes? What is that like, dude?
Yeah, no, so when I retired in 2019, blew my ankle up twice, my career was over, and I started kind of reflecting back, what am I going to miss about the NFL? And for me, it wasn't putting a helmet on a Wednesday afternoon on 9-on-7 and banging against guys like you, but it was more along the lines of I was going to miss the mentorship, the guidance, helping young players understand what it meant to be a pro in this league. And so I was like, I thought about going to coaching. My wife and I had our first son at that point, and she put the kibosh on that pretty much instantly. And and so, I was talking with who was my agent at the time, Chris Giddings, he's been an agent for 27 years. And he was like, Jeremiah, all the things that you've mentioned that you want to do, we can do as an agency, but we'll get to select the guys that we get to do it with. And it's been awesomely rewarding, being able to take what I refer to as a PhD in football, 5 years in college, 6 years in the league, and then turn that around and give it back to young players and take the agent side from more of what the normal agent of, hey, we're just your contract negotiator, or we're your marketing team, we're going to do all this stuff off the field, and flip that on its head and say, hey, we're a football agency that's going to help create the best football player out of you, which then will lead to all the other stuff. And it's been extremely rewarding. I love doing it. I specifically work with more offensive linemen just because obviously that's why I played in the position. But I love it. It allows me to keep my feet in both college football and the NFL because I love both of them. And, it's been awesome 3 years here. Just finished my third draft cycle and already knee deep in recruiting for the next year and just going right back up the hill.
All right, dude. So what's it like negotiating on a contract with these NFL teams, these GMs? What is that like? I remember my rookie contract. Van McElroy and Jeff Nally, Select Sports Group. They were my agents, and they called me at one point, and they said, "Get ready for a long holdout, Adam. We ain't even close." And Jeff's like, "Yeah, Van might have stormed out of the room and threw his hands in the air and said, 'We're done.'" And I was like, "All right, I guess we'll see what happens." They called me 48 hours later as I was on the practice field. But what's it like negotiating with these NFL teams and these GMs?
Yeah, it's super interesting coming from the player side to the business side, right? Because your agent is obviously always the business side. And I think it's so important that you have an agent because in those meetings, in those negotiations, things get said that the player would take very personally, right? And that's just because that's just part of what business is, right? Like when you're coming down to dollars and cents and the salary cap, and obviously we want as much money as possible and the team wants to pay as little money as possible, and you have to find the middle ground. I love it because it allows me finally to have some leverage against the NFL, right? Like as a player, you always kind of feel like you're just a pawn in a greater scheme, which majority of the time you are, right? It just depends. Are you a pawn? Are you a rook? You a bishop? You're a king? You're a queen? But you're some piece of board chess piece player. And being on the other side, having leverage to say, hey, this is why he deserves this amount of money based off of research. And then also pulling it to like, hey, I've watched all the film. I know who he's better than. I know who he's comparable to. I know who got paid last year. And then finding a way to make it all work. But, we take the approach too of, at the end of the day, we want to make a deal where at the end of it, we shake hands, everyone's happy and we can move on, not draw a hard line in the sand. And then at the end of the deal, nobody's happy. And then that relationship could be ruined for future going on. So it's been a huge learning curve on my end, and I rely heavily on Chris, who's been doing it for so long, but I've been having a ton of fun with it. It's nice coming into this business with a little bit of respect. When you wore the shield, some of these guys know they can't pull one on you because it's like, I know I sat in those meetings. I know what's actually said. Right. Like you can kind of pull a bit of that, which has been great, but it's really fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. And, it's cool to get to see both sides of the coin now of how the business side of the NFL truly works.
Dude, I'm just going to say it, the egos that get involved sometimes, the money that's involved in these things, dude. Anytime you stick it just a little bit to the NFL, and I got nothing but love for the NFL, but anytime you stick it just a little bit to the NFL, dude, just know that I'm smiling. I got your back on that, and I love that. Was my favorite thing. You said a lot of great things. That was my favorite thing so far. All right, let's talk Nebraska football, Nebraska offensive line. Okay, left tackle, we know Teddy Prohaska, Turner Corcoran. Okay, do you think Teddy ends up starting at left tackle? Do you think Corcoran Is he a backup? Do you think he potentially goes to guard? Obviously, we got Justin Evans-Jenkins, Henry Latufsky, we got Micah Mazuka. What are your thoughts on some of that stuff?
Yeah, Teddy, for me, I just the number one thing for me is stay healthy, right? And him getting through the spring was enormous, right? I think that's something that isn't talked about as much as he's never had a full spring, right? Like he's never had a full off season, right? He's always been rehabbing, and you've had injuries and I've had injuries. And when you have an injury going into the off season, it's pretty much done, right? Like you're just hoping to get back to where you were the year before, instead of actually taking huge strides in your strength and conditioning and your technique and your skill level. Like when you're just rehabbing, you're like, man, I just hope I'm what I was before the injury. And so for him to have the full spring to be able to get himself into camp, get himself going, be able to self-correct, and then also self-scout and say, okay, this is what I did well in camp. This isn't what I did well in spring, and focus on it. I would love to see him be the starting left tackle for the Huskers next year, because I think the potential, the body frame is all there, and it's all right out in front of him. Now, I would love to see Turner at guard. I've been saying it for years. I think he would be a much better guard than tackle, just based on some of the arm length things, some of the anchor issues he had outside on the edge. But you start looking at, I think Micah was a great addition into this offensive line room, coming from an SEC school, having that type of mentality. I mean, this dude tried to box a dude at the 10-yard line, right? Like he's got that dog in him, right? You got to have that in your line room. You got to have some of that go-getter mentality, and I think he brings some of that. Then you bring Ben Scott back for a solid spot in the middle there at center position. You got to have the captain of your O-line right, ready to go all the time. And then you look at the right guard spot, and it's okay. Is it Latofsky? Is it Evans-Jenkins? Right, competition is great there. And then obviously having Benhart come back for his last year, which I thought he played his best football last year. So having him to be able to come back and anchor that right side of the offensive line. I will say I'm slightly jaded. He's going to break my start record at Nebraska because he has the 6th year. So I'm going to say there's an asterisk next to it. I'm not going to say it's legitimate, but I mean, hey, it is what it is.
I get it.
I'm excited for this group. I think that Coach Raiola has done a nice job. He has his system in place. Obviously, a lot of these guys went to bat for him when Rule showed up. Was like, hey, no, this is our guy. He stuck around. I think that this position needs to be a strength on this team, because if you're going to have a young quarterback back there, you play in the DN position, for sure if there was a young quarterback, all you want to do is get him on the ground early and rattle him. It's going to be really important that if Raiola starts for us at the Huskers quarterback position, that the guys up front keep him clean.
All right, do you think that this finally will be the year? Because I myself, for years, have talked about the potential of the offensive. I've used that word mind-numbingly amount of times over the past 4 or 5 years, and we have yet to put together a consistent season along the offensive line over the past 4 or 5 years. Is this finally the year that they can put it together up front and, like you said, be a strength of the team?
I want to say yes, but I'm with you, Adam. I've said the same thing for years, but the thing that concerns me, if there's anything that concerns me with the O-line, is the dreaded word every coach hates, depth, right? Because it's very unlikely that your starting 5 offensive linemen that you roll into week 1 with are the same 5 guys you play with all the way up through week 12, right? Guys get dinged, guys get hurt, guys get rotated. You want to have 8 to 10 guys you feel really comfortable about, that if one guy goes down, it's not a major drop off to the next player. And so I think that if all 5 can stay healthy for 85 to 80% of the games, absolutely. But if we start missing a guy here or there, 1 or 2 guys, and start playing the shuffle guys around game to try and make it through, I mean, our backup tackles are young, right? Young. And that's not a recipe for winning football, to have young tackles in college. So I think that if guys can stay healthy and stay on the field, absolutely this is the year that we can make that jump. But we're 1 or 2 injuries away from being a little bit in scramble mode.
It makes Teddy Prohaska getting through the spring, like you pointed out, that much more of a bigger deal. And I mean, I talked about Fedoni earlier, going into year 2. Okay, he's going to feel much better than that first year, which he played the entire year last year, but coming off those major injuries he had at his knee, he should be feeling good. Hopefully Teddy can get to the point where he's feeling really good about his body, his knees, etc., sooner rather than later. All right, man, couple of questions for you. So you played for Bo Pelini. All right. So you know, Bo is the guy that I had the pleasure of playing for as a redshirt freshman. Okay, I didn't play a ton. I was backing up Trevor Johnson and a couple other guys at that point in time, but I got to be in those meeting rooms. I got to see his fire and his love and his passion for the players and everything else. But if a fan were to just come up to you and ask you, what was it like playing for Bo? What would be your response so people can just kind of get a feel for that? Because I think people to this day are still intrigued with Bo Pelini, who did a great job here at Nebraska.
Yeah, you know, the number one thing I said is, you know, I love that man, right? I love that man, and not just because he was a great football coach, because he was a great leader of men. And if you ask me what the number one quality for a head coach in college football is, that's it. Can he lead and develop young men? Right, not just to being football players, but to being good men in society. And I'll never forget my first unofficial visit I took up here in June before my senior season. I drove up here with my dad, and we sat in Coach Pelini's office for an hour and a half, and Bo had his feet up on the desk like he liked to do, and he would just he talked to us about football for maybe 20 minutes, and then the rest of it was about his plan for how it was academics and how we were going to prepare with the life skills department, how important school was to him. And, you know, and that was such a big piece for me. But then the other piece of it too was you avoided Bo on game day like the plague because he was so fiery.
Yep.
Right. And I love that about him because that's the competition. That's what all of us who played this game have a couple screws loose, man. And they come out at weird times, and his came out on game day. And unfortunately, that was when he was visible to the millions of people across the nation that would watch him. But he was the first one that would come down on you and let you know that you were screwing up. But he'd also be the first one to pull you into his office on a Monday and put his arm around you and say, hey, we need better out of you and we need this. Or he'd be the first one to come into a class check. I'll never forget when I had a class as a freshman and I saw his head pop in to actually check who was there in class. I was like, oh, man, this dude is for real, right? Like, he was just awesome. I'd run through a wall for that dude. I love that guy. I think he was arguably one of the top 3 coaches I've had throughout my entire career.
So obviously there's a whole lot of debate about how, you know, how he was let go, should it have happened, yada, yada. But it's interesting to me because my first game under him as our defensive coordinator, my redshirt freshman year, we played Utah State, and they went right down the field and scored. Like just a knife through the hot, soft butter. And I was like, and the starters came off and I was like, oh my God, Bo's going to blow a gasket. Like I was like scared for them. And I was pretty much just scared in general. Being my first game, I might see some real action. And dude, he was so calm. He like gathered everybody. And I remember the conversation to this day. He's like, just calm down. Just chill out. He's like, they lift weights. They're on scholarship. They're allowed to make plays too. There's going to be things that go our way, things that go their way. At the end of the day, it's how you respond to the things that go well for them. And then they never scored the rest of the day. And that conversation has always stuck with me. And I've always wondered, because there's so much that goes into being a head coach, okay, in football. I mean, it is exponentially harder than being a position coach, a coordinator. And those jobs are not easy. I'm not saying that, but the head coach has so much on his plate. I always kind of wondered, and Scott Frost too, I always thought maybe they were better suited for like the coordinator position because certain things just got to them a little bit more as the head coach than they otherwise would have. What are your thoughts on that?
Specifically to just the general overall, like your statement there, you're 100% correct. And we see it time and time again, more in the NFL, I think, where you see a guy that's a phenomenal coordinator and then they go put head ball coach on as the ball cap, and it just falls apart at the seams. Because when you're head ball coach, like I said, when you're D coordinator, all you're worried about is, hey, who's playing this week? What front are we in? What blitz package do I want to put in? And that type of thing. Now you're a head coach. You're working with, hey, I got media on Tuesday. I've got this guy that's got a problem. I've got to coordinate everything else. Like, you become more like a CEO than a true football guy. And then also some of these head coaches still want to call plays. So then you're splitting time into both worlds. And that's why the great ones are so great. And that's why it's such a hard position to be able to do. But yeah, I think that was a piece of it with Bo. Like, that's a piece of it with every head coach that has failed at one point in time, is you can stretch yourself too thin. And I think that the great head coaches are great delegators. Like, they understand how to use their strengths of the people they surround themselves with, give them the responsibility. Ultimately, the buck stops with you, right? And you're the one that makes the tough decisions. But, the ones that I've been around that have been truly great are the ones that have delegated well and allowed the people they've surrounded themselves with to work in a free fashion.
All right, my man, last two questions for you. You had the opportunity to play with a lot of great former Huskers, a lot of big names in Husker football history. Is there a teammate or two that just kind of stood out to you? Maybe they were, the funny guy in the locker room, or they had a unique personality, or maybe they were just freaking crazy. I don't know. Is there a teammate that kind of stood out to you during your playing days and time here at Nebraska?
That's such a great question. I think that the guy that stood out to me the most, and maybe was the most eye-opening guy to me on the field, was Randy Gregory. He wasn't there. I think it was the 2012 season. We were going into the 2012 season, maybe the 13, I can't remember. And he wasn't there through the whole summertime. And he just showed up at training camp at the 105. And our first one-on-one, this dude's lined up across me. I'm like, I have no idea who this dude is. Like, who is this guy? And he ran around me like I was standing still. And I remember I looked at Barney Cotton and I go, who the F is that guy? And they were like, yeah, that's Randy. He's going to be really good for us. And Randy ended up turning out to be a phenomenal teammate. He made me such a better player going against him every single day in practice. And, he was just a great guy, and super excited that he's found his way in the NFL, because he was just such a special talent and he did such great things for the Huskers.
All right, last question for you, my man. The Kool-Aid's flowing this offseason. People are excited. The first 7 games are very winnable. We got a lot of veterans coming back at just about every position. Obviously, Harburg at quarterback, but probably going to be Young at quarterback. Outside of that, a lot of vets coming back. All right, man, what are your thoughts on the Kool-Aid? And it tastes so good right now in June. But what are your thoughts on the Kool-Aid heading into this fall for Husker Nation?
Yeah, I'm all in on the Roulade and the Kool-Aid, man. I'm super excited for this fall. Probably more excited than I've been for probably since when Scott Frost's first year. That was kind of a super exciting moment for Husker Nation. I think this feels like that. But I do think, being around Coach Rule, seeing the way that he coaches, seeing the way the guys are bought in, seeing the fact that we had seniors that had chances to go to the NFL or hit the portal and go somewhere else that all stayed and bought back in. I'm all in on this team. I think that if they can stay healthy, the sky's the limit for them in these first 7 games. And as you know, confidence is such a big thing in football. If we can just get this team some confidence early in the year, winning some big games, Colorado at home, squishing Dion, doing those type of things, I think that this team could really be primed to have a massive year.
All right, man. I appreciate you taking the time to join me. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the show for today. Don't go anywhere. We're going to pay some bills, and the happy hour will be right after some of those bills get paid. Don't go anywhere. Always remember to throw the bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the